My name is Clésia Mendes, and welcome to Daring the Big Leap, the interview series from people who want to transition from employee to making a living as a change worker. And in this series, I get to interview people who have done it successfully because we get to learn from their experience. And today, I've got my dear friend Simone Vicenzi. Simone is the purpose strategist and co-founder of GetX, Growing Together Exponentially, where they help coaches, speakers, and trainers to live their purpose, grow their business, and make an impact in the world. He is the author of 3 well-received books, run 56 seminars in 2015 alone, and spoken for 5,000 people audiences, sharing the stage with Les Brown, Jamie Smart, and many, many more. Welcome, Simone.
Hello, Clésia. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I am fabulous. Thank you very much. I'm so excited that you accepted this invitation and you are with us here today. And
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here. I'm really excited about this.
oh, fabulous. So my first question for you is, what first sparked your interest from becoming an employee to doing something completely different? What you're doing right now?
Thank you for the question. What sparked my interest is that and this is something that is a bit weird. I had a conversation with a couple of friends yesterday night, and something that really sparkled my interest was the fact that I saw really a lot of sad people around. It's like, man, there are so many sad people around. What's wrong with them? And at the moment, I was very naive. I didn't realize that actually there is a certain way where people live. They go to school, they get a job, because honestly, I always did what I loved. I didn't like school, so I went to work as a waiter in restaurant. I loved being in a restaurant. I started managing a restaurant at a very young age and got a very successful career in that, but I was fulfilled. I was happy. And then I went to a point where I was like, I don't like this anymore. This is not fun anymore. This is not exciting anymore. I want something different. It's time for me to move on. So I went down like this spiral of depression. I became one of these sad people. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me now? What is this Simone, the bubbly, happy, buzzing Simone? What is it? So I went to a couple of seminars and I started checking on Google how to be happy. And from there, I discovered this world of coaching, like probably many of us have done in this way. Mm-hmm. And I said, wow, I love this. It's me, it's so much me. I always wanted to help people being happier. I always wanted to have people I always said to people, do what you love in life. Why doing something you love? What's the point? It doesn't make sense. And with coaching, then I started having the tools to do that, not just, like pushing people and say, what's wrong with you? That was where I was coming from. And that's what got me interested into coaching. And I said, now I want to make a living out of this. I didn't know that my vision at the time wasn't as big as it's now with GTEx, but at the moment I said, no, I want to help people. I want to give that. So that's what got me interested in that.
Wow. It's like just in this introduction, you shared so many golden nuggets. Is one of the things that sparked me straight away was how sometimes we do something that we love. And then when we kind of get this inner nudge that it's time to change, we make ourselves upset and stress out about it, instead of just saying, hey, I think I'm done with this. What else is possible? What else I would like to do? So we may go into cycles of depression. And that does not help at all. It might, and you've done the thing, okay, you started searching, but the stress is not required for the search. It doesn't help at all. That is beautiful. And you also mentioned that how your vision expanded as time went by. You started learning new things. Your vision expanded.
Massively.
Oh my goodness. I think we'll need a second episode because this is so good already. So, you told me how you started, and how long did it take you to jump from being, you're making a living as an employee until you started getting your living supported by the coaching business or whatever you did afterwards?
Full time 4 years.
4 years.
Full-time 4 years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went very naively on, oh yeah, you know, when you go to this kind of seminar, yeah, put down the number, the income you want to get by the end of the year. You can do anything. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire by the end of the year. Didn't have a clue on how
Why
to.
not?
Why not, right? So not realizing, not having a good reality check on where I actually was, what kind of knowledge I had about business, what kind of knowledge I had about coaching, what was my network at the time, what were my speaking skills. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I want to be a millionaire by the end of the year. And so I quit my job, and I got myself into a position where I said, I got to make it happen. So I started like spending hours and hours working. I wasn't doing anything profitable anymore. I was just like writing blog posts and recording some YouTube videos and somehow expecting clients coming to me. Cutting the long story short, after 1 month, just pick up the phone. Mom, can you send me the money for the rent? And then the month after, because I was persisting in that, I was like, Dad, can you send me? Because my parents are split up, so I can play like, say, Mom,
Oh,
Dad, right? Dad, can you send me the money for the rent? And then yeah, it didn't work. I ended up living on the street. I ended up homeless because I didn't have the money for paying my rent. I didn't have the money for paying my basics, and I was still in the mindset of, oh, things will get better. I can change it. I can do it. But I was like I don't know, like sometimes a hamster,
mhm.
like scraping on a wheel, like doing, but not getting anywhere. So it took me about 3 years to learn what I needed to learn to run a business. Because I was a great coach, and I got results with the few clients I had.
Mhm.
But then I realized that to run a business, you need to have business skills. Coaching skills are not enough.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think the coach can get big-headed on the fact that because I'm a coach now, I know everything.
Mhm.
Bullshit. You
Wow.
know. So that was and then
Yeah.
from there, I lost my first company, started GTEx with my business partner, and then it took me about 6 months with GTEx.
Mhm.
It was 4 years, like three years and a half with the other company, and then I lost it. And then GTEx took me 6 months, and in 6 months I was already um, at least covering my expenses as a coach.
Yes. So there is a small gap for me. I've got well, my background is in banking and finance, so I've got like these head for numbers. So there is kind of a gap in terms of information. So, okay, so you started working as a coach. You gave up your job. You started working as a coach. The
Yeah.
first 2 months, so basically you had to borrow the money, the rent money from your parents, both your parents, and then you became homeless. But it took you 4 years to build up your business. So between that gap of being homeless until your business started working, where were you living? Because I think that someone in the audience may be wondering, okay, what happened to you in those?
Yeah, that's a good point. I just decided to put my ego on the side and be humble and say, you know what, I just need a job where I can support my income. So I came back and working in restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meanwhile, so I was working in a restaurant part-time just to have the money to cover my expenses. And then the rest of the time I was networking, going to events, going to seminars, learning, studying, approaching clients. So basically I was on it 24/7.
Mm.
That's what, so from there, from the part-time, then I let go of the part-time, took more contract work. Because this is something that I would suggest for every coach that is starting out, having their business separate from their personal income, business income separate from personal income.
Mm. Can you
Uh,
expand that on that?
yeah, of course. Because the truth is that I see a business when you're starting out like a baby.
Mm.
And imagine when you're nurturing a baby, you cannot say to the baby, okay, now go and work and bring a salary in the house. You're actually nurturing them. You have to spend time. You have to change the nappies. Like you have to give food. You have to go and play with them. It's a lot of time that you're spending with them and for them. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the same with a business. So imagine that you have just this startup, is a baby business, and you're asking for your baby to support you. Okay, now you pay me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you're starting from scratch, unless you have already background, you have already a wealthy network, investors and stuff, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
If you're starting from scratch on a bootstrap, that's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And also what happens is that instead of investing in innovating and making your business better, then you just have barely the money to support your bills and to support yourself. And then you're just stuck in that rut where your business cannot grow because you cannot get maybe new systems that can make your business better, or you cannot hire a designer, or you cannot hire a branding specialist, or you cannot hire maybe a venue for your events and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes that your business doesn't grow at all. So personally, what I do, and even GTEx is like more than 6 figures, we are really happy with that. I'm still having my personal income coming from the contract work that I'm doing with schools and other corporate work that I'm doing. And I started 2 months ago taking £500 a month from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I always reinvest in the business. I want to make it better. I want to make it better looking. I want to give more to the members. I want to give. And with that, I have the money in the business to do that, rather
Mm-hmm.
than putting my own money or just taking the money out of the business to support me.
Wow. Wow. And over here, we're talking about hard facts, and this is really reality. This is not like you said, that you go to a seminar and say, oh, yeah, you can become a millionaire by the end of the year. Folks, we are built for reality. This is reality. This is nuts and bolts we are talking about. If you want to do the transition, get the knowledge beforehand and learn about all those skills that you're.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to, this is my reality. So I don't want to put
Mhm.
my reality into other people's.
Sure,
Because
sure.
there are people that made a successful business in a year. That wasn't just my story. And
Mhm.
for me, my journey was realizing to be more grounded, because I don't have difficulties to have the big picture sky thing. That's me. Like, oh yeah, I can create this, I can create that. But is on the numbers and the real. That was my personal journey
Yes.
to own. So that's why that happened to me.
That's a valid point. I was thinking about Tony Robbins' story, and from the personal development world. Tony Robbins is very well known. And Tony Robbins, maybe not many people know about this, but Tony Robbins started by working for a guy called Jim Rohn. That was one of my business mentors many years ago. And in the beginning, Tony Robbins used to sell Jim Rohn events. So he did that for a couple of years, where he was putting the practice on before he started doing his own events. So
Mhm.
even from the outside may think, oh, he was an overnight success. Like some people say, oh, overnight success that took 20 years to build up. Yes. So I see where you're coming from. You don't want to put your reality, and that comes from a place of integrity. This is my story. I don't want to put my reality on other people's realities. Some people are very successful in 1 year, but yeah, based on results, it takes some work beforehand, some
It does. It does. I
ground.
personally, it's more the people that I met that actually took about 4 to 5 years to build something,
Hmm.
because I think that, and this is, as you know, like I coach speakers and trainers to start their businesses, and sometimes I just getting that reality check of what is your position in the market. If I ask around who knows you as a coach or as a speaker, how many people are able to say, oh, I know this guy is great?
Mm.
And if the answer is my mom, my dad, and my sister, it means that you have to do a lot of groundwork and expanding your network. That's why last year I did more than 56 events.
Mm.
Why? It was very expensive. We spent more than £23,000 only in venues. That's only the venue cost that we had.
Uh-huh.
But we know that the more we get out there, the more opportunities then will come. And that's how also it happened, the opportunity with Les Brown, which a lot of people will have to pay for. I just said it happened almost like casually, and thank you, right?
Yeah, so please tell us more about Les Brown. For someone that is not familiar with Les Brown, I would ask, where have you been living? But putting that aside, if you could just tell us a little bit about Les Brown and how this opportunity came about. Just tell us.
Well, Les Brown is has been considered the best motivational speaker in the world.
Mm,
Has been around for more than 30 years now, and he's 70. This year is 70 years old,
wow.
and just check on YouTube. He's the kind of speaker that I don't know how he does it. Every single event, every single speech is always tell the same stories. There is nothing new in his content. You watch one YouTube video, it's always the same. However, every time he tells his stories, every time he tells his story, it feels like you've heard this for the first time. And that's the greatness in him. I never saw a speaker like him. Hands in the pocket, just his voice and his presence. Incredible. Forever. He's a must. He's a must to watch, to follow. And how that came about is I had the organizer of the event, which Althea is called Althea Grant, that she's working personally with Les Brown, and she wanted to bring Les Brown to London after 4 years. He hasn't been to London, I think. And I saw this event like probably for about a few months on the Facebook feed, and then I had this like intuition. I don't know where it came from. I was working on my laptop, and I had this thing: send her a text, send her a message. Okay, I was on Facebook. I said, "Oh well, thank you very much for bringing Les Brown to London. I don't know if I can come to the event, but if there is anything I can help you with, I run at the moment, it was October. I run already 50 events this year, and I'm pretty good at that. So I don't know if you need any help. Let me know." And she said, "Oh yeah, I will need some help. Let's have a conversation." So she called me immediately. So we started talking, and I gave her some tips and just gave her some feedback on the run of the event, and most of it she was doing right, so it was a good confirmation. There were small tweaks, in my opinion, and apparently she found the value in that. And then I said, "Well, if you need an MC, that's what I do. Just let me know." And she said, "Yeah, okay, I'll think about that." And then a few days before the event, I received a call from their assistant and saying, "Would you like to MC for Les Brown?" I was, let me think about it.
Let me write that one down. Like, let me think about it. So maybe it's one word to say, "Would you like to present?"
Of course.
Let me think about it.
Okay, well, what, are you even asking me this question? Even if I'm busy, I'm making myself free. Yeah, so because at the end of the day, for some people could see, okay, I've been starting professionally speaking 2 years ago, speaking around 3 years ago, and I'm 27 at the moment. So for people, I think 3 years around the speaking market, 27 years old, speaking with Les Brown, that's something that doesn't work together. That people could speak for 20 years and not even get to shake his hands. And I think that the message in that, for me, that experience for me was when you're in alignment with what you're doing, and when you're helping others with your gifts, then opportunities come to you. So be aware of what your gifts are and help others as much as you can with that.
Absolutely.
My case is emceeing, running events. And creating seminars and courses. That's my gift. So sometimes I just help people. They say, "How could you give me advice?" And of course, then they might come clients, they might not become clients, but that's fine. That was my learning in that.
That is amazing. And one of the things, naturally, when you saw the event coming on your feed and you got in touch with the lady, you had the insight, what some people call the insight, aha moment, oh, the nudge, oh, let's get in touch. And you didn't judge at all your nudge. You didn't have, this is what I take, that you didn't have any expectations about the interaction. Just say, you had the nudge, you follow your nudge, or what some people call your inspired action. So you took the inspired action, got in contact, the person got back, you deliver value, and you mentioned that, oh yes, I've done more than 50 events just this year. So the person knew that you had a lot of knowledge, and then you proved by the feedback you gave. And as you said, she saw something of value in that. And
yeah, exactly. And I really love the idea of the inspired action, and it's something that I'm learning and relearning to listen to more, because I'm quite intuitive as a person, but sometimes I can get caught up in the do, and then when I'm in the doing mode, there is less feeling mode. So I'm now relearning to balance them both, and that's how I actually came to London. I received an offer when I was working in a restaurant in Italy. Someone said, "Come and work for me in London," and I would say, I said no, but then I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. There was something saying, just go, just go, just go. And I remember I smoked about 20, I was smoking at the time, so I smoked about a pack of cigarettes, 20 cigarettes before the phone call. I said, okay, I'm coming. And then I smoked another 20 cigarettes before telling my mom, because I was dressed up. I was like, Mom, I'm moving to London. So what? Yeah, I'm leaving in 2 weeks.
Wow.
For how long? I'm going to leave there. Silence. So, but I knew it was the right thing for me, and my mom then saw that. She didn't take it very well at the time. She stopped talking to me for about 3 years because she's like, "What? You left me for like you said 2 weeks. I'm moving to," but now she got it. We have incredible relationships now.
We've seen your mom on Periscope. She's adorable. It seems she's paying a visit in London at the moment, isn't she?
She just came. She just left. She
Oh,
left
she
2 days
did.
ago. I spent a week with her, solid week with her.
Oh,
Almost no work. I had an event actually, and I gave her. We gave her out like the members of the month. We call it the GTEx factor. The person either who has achieved the most or gone through the biggest struggle, and we want to acknowledge that from our members. And so I gave her the GTEx factor of the month, and she was there, and everyone was clapping, and she started crying, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
getting goosebumps. She's so adorable. I'm loving this conversation. So, what were the key milestones for you while you were developing your business?
Really good question. Key milestones. I would say, first of all, learning how to speak in public. That's really important. That's fundamental. Because if there is a level of playing small on like connecting with people, well, not playing small, but it's connecting with people one-to-one is a lot of work, and then it doesn't establish you as an expert.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're able to speak, once you're able to influence, once you're able to go on stage, then immediately the perception of you is like, boom, he's speaking, I'm listening. He's the expert, I'm listening. So even if you have not been around for long, if you share what you know, and you know that you're comfortable with that, you're confident, and you can deliver great value, then there is no better way to starting by learning speaking skills.
Yes, absolutely. And well, people don't know how we've met, but we have met in an experiential business training where we learn how to speak. And in the training room, we always are taught to speak to 1,000 people audience. So one of these days I went to my local Toastmasters to practice, and we only had 30 people, and I was speaking to 1,000 people audience, and they were like, they were like, when you walk on stage, we know that you're on the stage, but who are you talking to? We are only 30. I was like, oh, well, that's how I've been trained. It's 1,000 people.
True. I remember I was running one of my first workshops, and I think there were 5 people, and I was speaking with this big gesture, and it's too much. No, but when I spoke with Les Brown, there were 800 people. That helped. Mm-hmm. So that's always speak to 1,000 people audience. Thank you, Clinton Swain. Bless you.
Thank you. Mwah. You're like my heart.
And then the other milestone is to actually run as many events as possible. Mm. Because the more events you run, it means that the more people you have exposure, and the faster you can build an audience. Mm. And yes, online now makes things easier because you can run like interview like this, a podcast, you can run webinars. That makes it easier. But personally, I found there is nothing better than the one-to-one connection. Mm-hmm. When you can actually meet people, you can talk to them, you can see them face to face, they connect with you, they connect with who you are, and there is not the filter of a laptop or a camera. And that's personally what I found giving the best. So I started doing events before. We were starting from like a small room. It was an organic farm. We negotiated the room for free for 7 events. So we start. That's how my company GTEx started. And then the more we were upgrading to a better venue, we went to a shared working space, and then we went to an hotel, and now we're running in fancy hotel venues. But it took about 2 years before getting to that point of constant events, once every 2 weeks, once a month, once every 2 weeks, once a month events. So I would suggest for other people, do as many events as possible.
Mm.
And if you don't have money to pay for a venue, you can get a really nice hotel lobby,
Mm-hmm.
and just have a little mastermind there where you can have a conversation. You invite 5, 6 people, and then when you see that maybe when 20 people come, then you know that it's time to move.
Wow. Wow.
And in the meanwhile, you can practice your facilitation skills, your speaking skills, your selling skills, because that's the other milestone,
Mm-hmm.
which is selling from stage.
Mm-hmm.
And selling from stage is an art.
Mm.
Is a skill on its own, and is a craft, and it doesn't. You need to know how to do it.
This is like you giving us like gourmet food, and I was thinking like just a little brunch to start with. I think we'll need another episode if that's okay. So that is
I'm,
really
I'm okay with that.
you're okay
Whenever
with
you
that.
want, I can do. We can talk. I'm more than happy to
Oh,
support
that
you
would be
there.
amazing. So probably have like part 2 and part 3 afterwards.
That becomes the Simone and Clésia, the Clésia and Simone show.
Why not? Why not? At least for a month, that would be amazing. So keep on
I'm
coming
joking.
back. And
No.
one of the things that I did remember that we had a conversation beforehand. You spoke a situation where you had a group of people, and then you sold a number of people, and you were amazed. Could you just tell us a little bit about that
Oh
story?
yeah, the first time I sold from stage, I think it was an event, and it was the first time we had 50 people in the room. So we were buzzing. The room was packed. We made already £200 in ticket sales. It never happened before because we had one speaker that had a very good following. And so then we pitched our mastermind, and it happened that one person, and at the time was £120 for 6 months or something like that. And one person signed up, but that person had 4 friends, and so all the 4 friends signed up as well.
Right.
And so we ended up making probably about £900 to £880 that night. And I was like, man, I was doing backflips. I was like, what the hell? I made £800 in one evening. I'm so happy. It was crazy. It was crazy. Me and my business partner, I can't believe. Now I understand what people talk about. So then I spent the last 2 years really focusing just on my sales skills,
Mm-hmm.
selling one-to-one, selling from stage, and it paid off
Mm.
because. And I make a disclaimer because some people, I think that in this industry, think about selling as been used to like successor resources style, or
Mm.
run at the back of the room, 5, 4, 3, and then you have this sheep that are going that bah, they give me the form and so. I hate that.
Mm.
I think it's very disrespectful for the people that are there. You're just treating people like I don't know. I hate that. It's
Mm.
not. I feel like I'd have been signing up with one of these. I've been one of these sheep that was going to following the crowds. Everyone is running. I'm running too. I don't know why.
Right.
And I'm spending £2,000 just for a thing that I don't need. But I think that there is a way of selling that this is the one that I personally teach and the one that I spent a lot of time to craft, which is very personal, is very authentic,
Mm-hmm.
and you make your statement, you deliver the value that you want to give, you deliver incredible value, and
Mm.
then following like certain scripts, then people will buy, but then you get the right people that will buy.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, we have a very like almost non-existing refund rate, and because no one else asks for a refund because they buy because they want it.
Mm-hmm.
While a lot of big speakers, they have a higher fund rate because you use a lot of hypnotic language, a lot of NLP, and a lot of manipulation in there. So when someone wake up from, what the freak did I do?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things. And for me, the key is to deliver a lot of value, but also make a clear call to action. Because some people just deliver a lot of value and then that's it.
Yes.
They forget about the call to action. Not all your presentation is designed to sell.
Mm-hmm.
But during the sales, you give an incredible value. So, and they say, "Wow, I got this in 1 hour with you. what can I get working with you? Oh my God.
Exactly. And the way I see it has to do with leadership. I just had a conversation a few minutes ago before we got on this interview. Right now, I put one of the groups that I'm in with, and I said I'm looking for a sales practice partner because I want to work out on this new client proposal. So I was thinking take 2 hours so we can practice on each other. And someone put a note saying, "Oh, but in my opinion, is that you should just have a connection with the client, see where it goes." And that is great because it has to do with a part of coaching and also has to do with the leadership. And when I'm there as a coach, I can see my client potential. I believe in their vision. I'm getting really excited, enthusiastic about their vision. They don't know how to get there, but I know because I can see it. And it's about the leadership and say, okay, if it's a good fit, this is how I would like to work together. And then I leave it to them always. I truly believe in freedom of choice, but it has about leadership. In that moment, once someone sends me a referral, they know for a fact that I'll be working with that client. I'll be
Mhm.
completely authentic. I'll be delivering as much value as I possibly can, and I will be leading where they need to go if they want to go with that. But I won't be just like pointing the way and saying, okay, let me know what you think, and then call me. Folks, we are leaders over here, so at least
Yeah.
we are
I,
know
I,
each other.
It's true. The amount of people, of coaches that think I'm just having a good conversation with our client and then see where it goes. Well, good luck.
Mm,
If it works for you, keep doing that because it might work for some people. I'm not saying for me, never worked.
mm,
The time when I started using scripts, when I started using mental checklists of what to talk about, certain phrases to use and not to use, things to say and not to say. Because at the end of the day, if you know that you're coming from your product and your service is valuable,
mm-hmm,
and you can really get the result that you're promising and you put your heart and soul,
mm.
what's wrong with that? Like my role is actually to convince you to join my programs. That's my role. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, for me, it's like I believe on my client's dream, and I believe in that dream probably more than I do, probably more than they do. It's like okay, my
Yeah.
job is like to show you that, and then give them a choice, and I'm happy with that. I have a good night's sleep after that. Was like I did my best.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I would recommend for people to start learning sales and learning follow-ups
Hmm.
because having a follow-up strategy with a client is really important. It's not that the first time I had a client that came, joined our courses after 7 events that they came,
Mm,
but I was keeping always in touch with them. And I have a strategy, I have reminders, I have systems like
mm,
CRM systems, customer relation management, where I put, okay, today I spoke with this client, we talked about this, she didn't sign up because of that. Follow up, give me a reminder in 3 weeks to
mm,
follow up, or in a week to follow up and see how things are going.
mm, hmm.
So it's just little tools that they are sales tools, and if big organization use it,
What's possible?
right? It's like use what works. That's it,
Exactly.
right?
So I was about to ask what sort of insights help you, or actually the other way around. What obstacles, insecurities, and fears did you have to overcome? So you already spoke about a couple. So you had to learn how to do public speaking, and what else?
Obstacles. One was my ego, big one. That was my biggest obstacle on, oh yeah, I can do this by myself.
Mm,
Because in my life, I was kind of one of this person that I always did everything by myself. I didn't need other people.
mm,
Or that's what I thought. Because if I have to connect the dots, I always had other people helping me out. But I was like, oh, I can do this by myself. So I was 19 and I was the youngest Michelin star restaurant manager in Europe. And I did everything. I didn't do any school. I just learned everything on the field, all the kind of stuff. And that stayed with me, that attitude. That's how I ended up homeless because I was like, oh, yeah, I can do this by myself.
mm,
I'm persistent. So that's the first one. Just become humble and see I can be great in certain things, but I will need other people to help me out in others.
mm,
And that was one biggest obstacle. Then the other one, another big obstacle was managing expectations. And in particular in terms of attendance at the event, because sometimes put some month of work in the marketing of an event and then I have 5 people turn up. It's like, really, is this what it's all about? I'm putting all this work in, then I have 5 people, but then I had to learn that it doesn't matter if there is 1 or 5 people. You deliver the best you can with the number of people that you have in the room.
Wow.
And this is something, it really doesn't matter how many people. If there is 1 person, you give yourself to 1 person. If there is 10,000 people, you give yourself to 10,000 people. The fact is that if you don't know how to give all of yourself to 1 person, you will never know how to give all yourself to 10,000.
Wow.
So that was a big learning for me. And every event that I do, I set the intention that whatever is the right number for people to come, whatever is the right, please help me, God. Please, God, help me connect with the right people that will come to hear this message. It's just taking myself a bit out of the way and say me more as a vehicle rather than, and that took a lot of practice. That took a lot. I still think it's like, okay, Simone, just come down. You're a vehicle. Okay, Simone.
So it has nothing to do with you. If you're a success, it has nothing to do with you. If it didn't work out, it has nothing to do with you.
It's to do with me, though. It's to do with me. Like it's not not giving myself the responsibility of it. I'm responsible for everything, but I know that there is a much bigger picture that I'm not seeing yet.
Oh, absolutely.
And for me, it's about helping myself connecting with that rather than that stay stuck. Because if you look at the Earth from far away, it looks like a small dot.
Yes.
So at the end, it's like, who am I on this planet? Yeah, I'm an important part, but there is much more going on. So it helps me to tap into that much more going on, which I don't know what is it yet, and I don't need to know, but somehow there is. That's what I believe.
Oh, yes. I relate to that. I also believe in that. And what sort of internal and external resources you were able to make use of?
What's the question? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Sure, I'll repeat that. So what sort of internal and external resources were you able to make use of? So, for example, you told us that, when you didn't have the rent, you spoke with your parents, and
right.
I guess you already told us about your internal resource.
Yeah, internal resources is like, hey, can you help me, please? That's a great internal resource. Hey, I know you're more powerful than me. Can you just help me, please? I'm not doing pretty well right now. So that's what. Another internal resource is persistence. Is persistence. Did I say persistence? Persistence, yeah. Okay, that one. Do you say persistence?
Persistence, yeah.
Yeah. You just keep going up until you make it. That's my philosophy, and just tweak and change up until things work out. That's how I see it. And if without that, I would have given up after the first 3 years, because at the end of the day, imagine like running a business for 43 years and a half without almost earning nothing and working about 15, 18 hours a day. So that can be very frustrating. But it's what I loved. I loved doing that. And I'm still working crazy hours. Like my normal working day is about probably 18 hours a day. But it doesn't feel like it. I love it. Like people can say, oh, Simone, probably you need to sleep right now because your eyes can become a bit puffy. And I say, oh, yeah, you're right. But that's how I am. I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I love doing what I do, and I'm not going to stop. I love creating, and I love delivering more value, and I love creating new projects. And the three. So persistence and
and persistence.
And persistence. And another one, external resources, grants, loans that I took out. I took for my first business, Your Power to Shine. I took a £6,000 loan that I don't know even really where I spent it, because I didn't know where to spend it. So I just spent it, and then I said, I have no money now again. So that was a good learning. And then another loan that we just recently received to help us just buy things that will help us save money in the long term. So that's external financing that can be useful. But I would recommend people to get external finances not at the beginning, because there is a big risk in wasting it. Unless you're working with someone that can recommend you and advise you, or even if you're not working, someone that you know that is in this industry, I
Yes.
can say, this is a waste of money for where you are right now.
Yes.
This is a good investment for where you are right now. Because at the different stages of your business, then there are different investments to make.
That's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. So, because naturally, when you're getting started, from my perspective, you would like to tap into your own creativity and resourcefulness. How can you make it work at the level that I am without not much money, much funding? We do have all the resources: network, energy, attention, focus, creativity, resilience. So how can I create something? The creation process. How can I start creating something with that? And then when I get to the next level, I can start
Exactly.
investing money.
And exactly. And again, it's tuning in, is it the right thing for me right now to take on a loan? Because it's a debt. So is that the right thing for me? What are the best investments that I can do?
Hmm.
And I think that at the beginning, learning, focus on learning sales and marketing,
Hmm.
because then whatever money you will have, you know that you can make them work. Otherwise, there is a big risk that you have that money and then you don't know actually how to sell, you don't know how to market your business, and then you're still from the point zero, but with a loan that you have to repay. So your expenses actually are more.
Yes. And
Yes.
something that just occurred to me, it has to do with also very important part, financial education. I don't know, you are probably aware of a guy called Robert Kiyosaki.
Mhm.
So he wrote the series of books called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and they've got Rich Dad Advisors, and they have created an educational product called Cash Flow, which I have. The I bought for the kids. I don't have children, but I bought the kids one. I bought the 101 and bought 202. I absolutely love that game. But the more you play, the more you get an instinctive understanding how your money flows is working, right? In terms of
Mhm.
what is creating debt, what is an asset, what is a liability, what is giving me income now, what is giving me income later, in terms of savings. So in terms, yeah, I would say people definitely get financially educated. Also,
It's true.
I think
Yeah.
we're going really, really deep here.
I'm liking, I'm loving this interview, Clésia. I think it's one of the best one I've ever done.
Oh, I'm touched. Thank you. And what sort of surprises did you have along the way, along your journey, from employee until where you are at the moment?
From employee. Oh, okay. Well, I've been very lucky.
Mm.
I'm a lucky person. I can say that. Thank you. Keep doing that. But I've always connected with the right people at the right time.
Mm.
I wanted to become a waiter and I wanted to become successful in my industry, even if I was 14 when I started. And I met someone that took me under his wing and told me everything. Like in 1 year with him, I probably learned what a lot of people are learning 7 years of schools or professional catering schools.
Mhm.
And so that's a great surprise. Then another person, the person who got me to UK, and I met him randomly while I was serving in a restaurant, and then he said, "Come and work for me."
Mm.
Okay. Is that another one? Another surprise. Well, I think that the thing that I remember the most, because every day is almost like a surprise, but the thing that I remember the most are the people and the moment that, for example, when I had my first client. I had my first client, £300 paid in advance for 6 sessions. I was doing backflips again, backflips in my kitchen. I was buzzing, and I think no. Sometimes I do seminars, and now we can make it on days where we can make 15, 20,000 pounds in one single day.
Mm.
They are not that exciting as the £300 that I got that time.
Yes.
It's like, whoa! I got my first client. I don't know how I did it, but it happened. Well, right now it's almost like more methodical. I know how many people are going to be in the room. I know how many people roughly will sign up. I know it's something that is tested. So there is the element of surprise now is less.
Mhm.
That take away a bit of that kind of magic, which then I put in the creating the relationship with my clients to reestablish that. But yeah, that's the thing that I remember the most. And also with the opportunity with Les Brown, that was something magical and
Yeah.
very unexpected and very blessed.
Absolutely. That is very exciting. And I really would like to highlight something that you said. So the happiness that you had of signing your first client, that your first 300 pounds when they sign up for 6 sessions in advance. And then nowadays you can make like 10, 15 to 20 grand, 20,000 pounds in one day. And it's a different feeling altogether. You have evolved, but there is still that joy. There is the creative energy, creative process
It
involved.
is. Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I love it. Like, please give me more. But like,
Like,
I
I'll
don't
have
want to
that.
say,
Thank
I
you.
don't want, like, I don't want you to get it wrong this one. I love it. And but it's just on a feeling level. I feel grateful in a different way. Before it was like grateful, excited.
Hmm.
Now it's more grateful, grounded,
Oh,
which is a more feeling of I know this happens. It's more from the I wish to the I know on the inner side. And I think that changes a lot of things when you know, when you're talking about, sometimes we talk about fake it until you make it, or you got to believe it before you achieve it, and all that blah. And I think it's true. I
yeah.
think it's definitely true. The fact is that there is a difference when it really sinks in.
Hmm.
And I think that the more you do and the more experience you get, the more it sinks in, rather than, oh yeah, I know this, and yes, I kind of believe it, and yes, I'm convincing myself I'm believing it, rather than, you know what, I know.
This one of my mentors, he says that is the difference between knowing intellectually
Mhm.
and know having an embodying understanding. It's
Yeah,
just like it's a different feel altogether. Yes.
massively different. And I guess that up until someone um, tests it, it's quite difficult to explain. It's even quite difficult to explain. It's a very grounded feeling. It's more, I know this is happening no matter what.
Mm.
And I just keep going up until it happens. And if it doesn't happen now, it will happen maybe tomorrow. There is no pressure, stress attached to that. Then, if my mind starts racing, then that's where I create the stress around that. So, oh, why didn't I convert that many people in the room? Why didn't I do? That's me. But
Yeah, yeah. And when you're talking about that, I know that it's going to happen. I definitely felt the certainty where you're coming from. It was like, yeah, there is no stress. I know it's going to happen. I don't know if it will be tomorrow. I know that will happen. I don't know if it will be tomorrow or it will be next week. Who knows? Yes, and that brings certainty.
and sometimes there is also there are also some humbling experience that get you okay. Now slow down. So, which is like, now you're getting too over the top with your ego, because this my ego is very big. So it's like you're getting too over the top. So, and then I know I have these experiences when I get too cocky that say, okay, remind where you are, reminding that what the reason why you're doing it,
Hmm.
and then it happened anyway, but it might just maybe delay the process. I think I have a good relationship with God. We play with each other a bit.
Oh, thank God I can come out of the closet. Yeah, I talk with him every day. I don't know if it's a him or she or
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
my, usually he doesn't reply in words, but I feel something. So it works for me. Whatever works. Oh, Simone, I'm loving this. We're coming to the end of of our show today. So,
No. Okay.
my question is, at the end today, for today only, what would you say to someone who's looking to make the leap from employee to making a living as a change worker, in a nutshell?
Someone who's going to make the leap, test it out first, because it's not for everyone. Having a business is not for everyone. There is a lot of work that is involved, and in particular, if you want to make something meaningful, something that other people can see as, wow, this is the new benchmark. And that's what I invite people to do. If you are really serious about this, it's an incredible journey. There is a lot of work to put in. There are a lot of hours, and there is a lot of joy and as well and benefits to reap from that. But I would suggest check within yourself. Am I really extremely committed? So before making a say or quitting your job or whatever is that, I would recommend just take a trial. Put no pressure on yourself. Say, okay, let me just go around for 1 year and I'm testing it. And then you see actually how much there is to learn, how much there is to do, And then from there, if you're still committed and you say, okay, now I see that this is the work that I need to put in order to create it, or you meet more people as well that can help you, because it doesn't have to be one person. You can have a team of people. Then, okay, now, okay, I'm full on and go. So having given yourself the benefit of, let me test this without putting yourself in a difficult financial situation. Because there are a lot of people that start becoming coaches and trainers, then they find that it's not their thing. It's something just nice, or they want to be coaches, but they don't want to run their business. And they want to do contract work, or they don't even want the stress to the contract work. They want to do to be employees. So depending on where you are and where you perform best, knowing yourself and give yourself that, say, let me test this. If it works, okay, brilliant. If I love it, then I go. If I don't, I have nothing to lose.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. So you get to experience beforehand. Simone, thank you very much for that. Where can people find you?
Oh, thank you very much. Well, people can find me on my website, which is www.gtex, which is gtex.org.uk. So that's my website. Or they can send me an email at simone@gtex.org.uk. We have a YouTube channel. We have a podcast. We are really everywhere. And so just go along on the website. You will find a lot of free resources on how to build a successful coaching and speaking business, where we interview also other experts like you're doing, that they share their different business models, so you can find the one that is the right for you. And we have a lot of great resources on there.
So you get to trial, as Simone suggested before. Thank you very much. My name is Clésia Mendes. If you want to find me, you can go to www.facebook.com/Clésia Mendes, actually, and that would be facebook.com/CLESIA.MENDES, or you can go to clesiamendes.com. So that would be www.CLESIAMENDES. Or if you like the easy approach, that is my preferred one, just go to Google and just Google my name, Clésia, and you'll find me there.
Thank you, Clésia. It's been an incredible interview. I love this. You're great.
Me too, and hopefully we'll be able to speak again soon.
Oh yeah, count me in.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.